And now this just leaves us 5 more races to go in the 2025 Formula One World Championship. And of course, Charles Leclerc, second in the championship, 10 points back from Lewis Hamilton. Charles Leclerc has now had 2 DNFs so far this season. You can see the Drivers' Championship. Charles Leclerc is back by 10 points. But we want to introduce Kimi Antonelli in the Drivers' Championship and McLaren, who still have to, pick up some big points. But Jesse, the championship is getting close.
Yeah, the championship is getting tight between the two for the eyes, but you got to keep it on. Yuki Tsunoda, Kimi Antonelli, and Verstappen. But look at the Constructors' Championship P5 between, big teams. Racing Bulls has Aston Martin, Alpine, Sauber, and Williams.
The battle for P5 is getting close between RB, Haas, Aston Martin, Alpine, Sauber, and of course Williams will have to pick up some more points if they want to, contend for P5. But here's now at the track map here at the Albert Park circuit. Of course, we have 4 left-handers and 10 right-handers here at Albert Park. 58 laps. This will make up the 14 turns, 4 DRS zones. Of course, this makes up, the 339 kilometers an hour, 215 miles per hour. But of course, we may see some rain later in the forecast. So here's a look at the tires, and of course, we could see some rain falling. So we'll probably be using the wets and the intermediates, but we're seeing the drivers starting on soft, medium, and the hard compound tire. Here's a look now at the starting grid for the Australian Grand Prix. At the back is the 2 Williams of Alex Albon and Carlos Sainz. The 2 Williams haven't stopped at the back since last year's Dhabi Grand Prix, so they start 20th and 19th. Then it is Ollie Behrman and Gabriel Bortoleto. Of course, Ollie Behrman has not been able to make to Q3. Neither has Gabriel Bortoleto. But we have Franco Colapinto in P16, his first Q1 action so far this season, with Nico Hulkenberg in 15th, who hasn't made Q3 and who hasn't still made Q3. And then it's Lance Stroll and Pierre Gasly. Of course, Gasly has still been out-qualified and out-raced by his own teammate, Franco Colapinto. But how about this? Max Verstappen out 4th in the championship, or 5th in the championship, and Lando Norris, Sean Hill, McLaren, and the Constructors are both eliminated 11th and 12th and 11th. Then it's Isaac Hadjar for Racing Bulls in P10 with Esteban Ocon in 9th, so Haas has the advantage over Racing Bulls. And then it is Fernando Alonso and Yuki Tsunoda P8 and P6. Or P7. Then it's Lewis Hamilton, the championship leader, starting P6, and Liam Lawson, who actually has the advantage over Haas in the Constructors' Championship and in qualified. Then it's the 2 Mercedes of Andrea Kimi Antonelli and George Russell. They lock up the second row, but it's the front row of Charles Leclerc, who is second in the championship, and Oscar Piastri, who leads the who is starting on pole position. And you can see the grid is ready. We are ready as well to start the Australian Grand Prix. It was announced that it was going to be the championship race for next year. But here we go now. Time to get the Australian Grand Prix for round 11. We are back after the summer break. It's lights out and away we go. Oscar Piastri gets away with it. So does Charles Leclerc. That Ferrari has very pace and takes the lead into turn 1 with no contest. Charles Leclerc leads from Oscar Piastri. Then Kimi Antonelli, the championship leader of Hamilton, runs 4th. Then Russell, P6. How about Liam Lawson? Then Tsunoda. Then Isaac Hadjar. Then the rest of your top 10 of Stroll and Esteban Ocon.
That was a great start for Charles Leclerc. That's what he needs in terms of the Drivers' Championship. And, coming into this race weekend, a lot of people speculated that, with him 10 points back, he could be out of the Drivers' Championship, but he can make up those points today if he wins. He's already got a clear advantage over Oscar Piastri by 3.5 seconds, and clear of Antonelli, and of course clear of our championship leader of Lewis Hamilton. But where are the 2 Red Bulls? Well, now Max Verstappen's on the 14th, and Yuki Tsunoda has got himself up to P6. So Red Bull at the moment struggling. McLaren having the advantage over Red Bull in the Constructors' Championship at the moment.
Yeah, and let's go all the way back to round 1. We're going to go all the way back to round 1 at Canada. That's when Charles Leclerc won the race in a rain lightning short event. And then, if we go into round 5 at the Hungarian Grand Prix, he made a couple of mistakes, but these last couple of races for Charles Leclerc haven't been too nice to him. 2 DNFs already. at Imola and China just last week, or just last month before the summer break. So it's been kind of an up and down season for Charles Leclerc. He is 10 points behind Lewis Hamilton in the Drivers' Championship. And it's like you said, Jesse, there's been, speculation of him, putting himself a lot of pressure in terms of him becoming a world champion. And he's going against a 7-time world champion who is his teammate, who runs fourth at the moment, who's 1 point clear of Leclerc in the championship, and that is Lewis Hamilton. But we know Charles Leclerc, he can learn from these mistakes. He does have the fastest lap. He does go fast in the first sector, but he's going to learn from these mistakes, to make sure that doesn't happen again. But here is your top 10 moment. It is Charles Leclerc leading the race ahead of Oscar Piastri in the McLaren, who was able to put his McLaren on pole. And then it's Kimi Antonelli, once again out-qualifying his teammate George Russell. And then it's the championship leader of Lewis Hamilton in P4. George Russell running fifth for Mercedes. And how about this? Liam Lawson running in P6 for Racing Bulls. Then it's Esteban Ocon in the Haas. Isaac Hadjar in his Racing Bulls. And then we go into the top 10 now, where we have Pierre Gasly 9th now, and Yuki Tsunoda runs at 9th, and then Fernando Alonso running in 10th position. So that is your top 10 at the moment. But now we're going to be waiting for these pit stops to begin. But Jesse, let's go back on talking about how Charles Leclerc needs to win this race to keep the championship alive, because if he crashes out, Lewis Hamilton could go into the next round, could easily clinch his 8th history of winning an 8th world title.
Yeah, he could easily go into Austria winning an 8th world title. But Charles Leclerc wants to make sure he keeps this title fight alive, going all the way down to Sao Paulo for, the final race. And of course, we do have at least 5 more rounds to go, because after this, we only have 4 more rounds to go, which leads to Austria, and then a couple more races to go. But Charles Leclerc wants to win this race to keep the Drivers' Championship alive going to Sao Paulo.
Meanwhile, at the back, we got a battle for 20 between the two Saubers of Nico Hülkenberg and Gabriel Bortoletti. Oh, a nearly contact between the two Saubers. And they're not even racing for points. Why would you want to even race for last?
I'll tell you why. It's because you want to make sure you finish ahead of your teammates. So that's why they're, racing for last. Oh, and that is Nico Hülkenberg sliding, flying in, jumping into the air. What a save by Nico Hülkenberg. But I can tell you one thing, he's not going to be happy at all with Gabriel Bortoletti, as Bortoletti pushed him wide, to try to hang on. But what a save from Nico Hülkenberg.
Incredible save from Nico Hülkenberg and his Sauber. But I can tell you one thing, and you were right, Jesse, Nico Hülkenberg is not going to be happy. But let's talk about this lead. Charles Leclerc has 17.9 seconds clear of the pole sitter of Oscar Piastri. Antonelli's trying to gain ground. That is George Russell. And then we know Lewis Hamilton, the championship leaders in the pit road.
I'm down here, with our championship leader, and they're going on a set of those Sava hard tough compound tires, which Staff is in, but Ferrari putting Lewis Hamilton, our championship leader, on the hard compound tires. So I don't know if this could be wise for Ferrari. We had to go on this hard tires with Lewis Hamilton.
Sorry, Queen, but Charles Leclerc just had a huge moment coming out of that corner where he just got 2 tires on the gravel and nearly spun out, but he saved it. So we should see Charles Leclerc coming into the pit stop, and we believe he is going to go on the medium tires. We believe he might, unless he goes on a set of the hard compound tires. But we know Charles Leclerc has a really good sizable lead, so it's about 22.2 seconds. So if he pits now, he would hold on to the race lead. Then it's Antonelli, then George Russell. How about Fernando Alonso? Fernando Alonso running in P5 for Aston Martin. Aston Martin would take P6 in the constructors, and Charles Leclerc now is coming into the pits with rain expected in 23 minutes. But Charles Leclerc coming into the pits, and he's going to go on the mediums.
Ferrari were ready with the tyres. Roy just now trying to get the tyres out. They weren't ready. They didn't know Charles Leclerc was coming to the pit, so this is going to be crucial. But now they're ready for Charles Leclerc. Gonna have second of the championship. Now comes in. Added to Spears Tommy Blue for the tyres. But the man who is second of the championship will hold on to the race lead. Unbelievable that Ferrari nearly had a disaster. They knew what they would do, and they still give Charles Leclerc P1.
Boy, that was real close for Ferrari in terms of Charles Leclerc and the championship. Carlo Pinto, Isaac Hadjar now coming to the pits. We wait now for a couple more, but Oscar Piastri does not come out as the race leader. He will still have to make his pit stop, but is 1.6 seconds back. But we'll see Charles Leclerc use that ERS to re-extend his lead that he's been leading for, the last couple laps now. We're on lap 5 out of 10, so halfway through the Australian Grand Prix as he runs wide again. And Fernando Alonso running fourth, as now Kimi Antonelli was the other driver to come into the pits. Esteban Ocon runs P5, and Ocon is really having a really good race today. Unbelievable. This is just really great for, Haas and Esteban Ocon.
Yeah, I can't believe Haas is having an unbelievable season, picking up some good points and all that with, Ollie Behrman and Esteban Ocon, but Ocon's been picking up really big points for the Haas team. As we got a battle between Max Verstappen and Lando Norris. Huge battle, wheel to wheel, they're almost contact, but Lando Norris gets the advantage.
More battles happening around the track. You got Yuki Tsunoda and Pierre Gasly. Oh no! Gasly's been tied and he goes off and into the gravel as Yuki Tsunoda's trying to make the move, and it leads to contact, and that puts Gasly in the gravel. He keeps it going, but he loses a lot of spots. George Russell now into the pits. Piastri still on second, and Fernando Alonso third. Yuki Tsunoda comes in and will probably have to change that front wing. Nico Hulkenberg also in. Alex Albon is also into the pit stop. But crucial moments here in the Australian Grand Prix, as now we got more battles happening. We got now Carlos Sainz going after Ollie Behrman, and now Sainz passes Behrman. What a good job from Carlos Sainz around Behrman.
A slow stop for Red Bull and Yuki Tsunoda, so it's not looking good down there at Red Bull. And Red Bull with the team with the most perfect, the most perfect pit stop so far this year, has their first bluff of the season here in round number 11 of the championship. And now that could set them back for third, for second, because they're on a level peg with Mercedes.
Well, at the moment, Red Bull has the advantage because Mercedes pitted. Of course, Verstappen made his pit stop, but it looked like now Mercedes able to come out ahead. So now Mercedes has the advantage over Red Bull, and they would be tied for second in the Constructors' Championship, which really doesn't change the points difference comparing, Ferrari came here with a 69-point advantage. Well, that advantage is going to still stay at 69 because, Mercedes and Red Bull really haven't gained ground, but Ferrari and Charles Leclerc has dominated this race so far with just 6 more laps to go, or just 5 more laps to go actually. But now we are getting ready to almost finish race. Now Piastri comes into the pits. Esteban Ocon stays out with Lando Norris, Gasly, and Behrman. Now we just have 4 more laps to go as we're here on lap 7 out of 10. So this is just 4 laps to go. Charles Leclerc continues to lead here at the Australian Grand Prix. Let's head to Sky Sports Commentary and Santa.
Yeah, I've been looking at the weather and...
Oh, sorry, Santa, but Charles Leclerc goes off the track and recovers. Unbelievable save from Charles Leclerc. A huge moment from the man second in the championship. What a save, but that could have really cost Charles Leclerc dearly.
It's another mistake this year for Charles Leclerc as he's pushed himself in terms of the Drivers' Championship. As like you said, with him putting a lot of pressure on himself, this could cost him. That could almost cost him probably a race victory.
Well, with a couple of drivers like Ocon, Norris, Gasly, and Behrman who haven't pitted, Charles Leclerc at the moment would retake the championship lead from teammate Lewis Hamilton. As now he rounds the corner, gets real close. Oh no! He's out! It's back to back DNFs for Charles Leclerc as Ocon gets his third career win and his second win for Haas. Lando Norris second, Gasly, Bowman, Hamilton, Antonelli, Russell, Oscar Piastri, Fernando Alonso, and Isaac Hadjar, your top 10. But it's back to back DNFs, Imola, China, and Australia. And now, going into Austria, Lewis Hamilton with a comfortable 22-point lead over Charles Leclerc. Tsunoda, Antonelli, and Verstappen could be, the drivers who could be eliminated going into Austria, but they're still in it with Charles Leclerc. But Hamilton could go easily into next weekend, clinching that record history 8th world title, but Ferrari still with a 69-point lead. And that will conclude today's race. We'll see you down under in Austria next week. Goodbye.